DDDP training coordinator, who will lead us in the invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, we are blessed to have the opportunity to be here this weekend with strong conservative women from across this great state. We have gratitude for each of the leaders in this room who have worked diligently to keep Texas red and elect the best possible leaders to positions that impact our daily lives in our communities, our state, and our nation. Today, we celebrate the efforts of our members and clubs, along with their dedication to TFRW, especially for the past 2 years. Help us to be good listeners and to find the right words to share the Republican message with those whose foundation and values truly align with ours. Give us courage and strength when we are tired and feel like we can't do one more activity in the primary and elections ahead. Help us to remember, if not us, then who? Bless each of our TFRW members and bless those who have prepared this meal for us today. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ronnie. In just a few moments, we'll hear from our very special guest speaker, followed by the awards presentation. Until then, please relax and enjoy your lunch. Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies. I hope you're enjoying your lunch. May I have your attention, please? You know me, we're on a timely convention. I want you to continue eating and enjoying your lunch. Please do that. But in the meantime, I am so honored to introduce our keynote speaker today. Governor Abbott began his political career in 1995 when he was appointed as a justice of the Texas Supreme Court by the then Governor George W. Bush. He later served as the Texas Attorney General, where he became known for his conservative legal stances, including opposition to the Affordable Care Act and same-sex marriage bans. He was elected governor of Texas in 2014 and since then re-elected every election after that. He is notable for being the longest-serving incumbent governor in the United States. His administration has focused on several key issues: economic growth, promoting Texas as a business-friendly state, emphasizing job creation and economic development initiatives; conservative policies, maintaining a strict anti-abortion stance, supporting lenient gun laws, and advocating for tougher immigration policies, including the initiation of Operation Lone Star to address border security. His legislative initiatives focus on issues such as property rights, education funding, and infrastructure improvements, including a significant investment in semiconductor manufacturing. Our governor truly cares about Texas, but more so, Texans. He is always out there, regardless of natural disasters. You will see him there. He is number one, making a response and taking care of those individuals that need Texans' help. Above all the years that I've known him, and that was the first campaign that I really, really worked on really hard when he was first elected. He's always been an avid supporter of TFRW, and when we call on him, we can always count on him to help us. So Governor Abbott, on behalf of TFRW, I thank you. All these ladies out there, thank you. Thank you for helping us lead the way. And with that, please welcome our governor, Governor Greg Abbott.
Thank you all so very much, and Zana, thank you very much for your leadership and for your friendship and for your tireless work. And what a room. I don't think I've ever been in a room so beautiful as what I'm looking at right now. Y'all are fantastic. I had a great visit with Patty, and Patty, thank you for your hard work that you put into this awards luncheon. And in a way, this is kind of what this is all about, recognizing and providing awards for all of the tireless work that TFRW has put in. And it is the thing that provides the biggest game changer to ensure that Republicans win year after year after year. So let me just start out by saying a big congratulations to all of the award winners today. Give it up for them all. Also, congratulations on 70 years of political transformation that TFRW has delivered in the great state of Texas. Let me put this in context. It was TFRW women who seized the reins of Texas political politics at a time when Republicans were in the wilderness, long before a Republican had ever been elected statewide since the Civil War, at a time when all of the statewide offices were held only by Democrats. You charted a course for the future of politics in Texas. And because of what you started, Texas has become the largest Republican state in the United States of America. Because of your tireless efforts, no Democrat has been elected statewide in Texas in more than 25 years. Trust me, there's no state in America that can match that Republican political dominance. And let me be clear about this. No organization has done as much to achieve that success as our very own TFRW. Thank y'all very much for what you've done. Because of your work, you helped put the legislature and myself into positions where we can take transformative action, pass and sign laws that will safeguard you and safeguard our state. One is something that I announced that is now law that exists right here in San Antonio. One of the biggest threats we face in our society today is cybersecurity threats. We needed to be in charge of making sure that we're going to be on top of that for our local communities and for our state and for our agencies, et cetera. And so we created the Texas Cyber Command located in downtown San Antonio, Texas. I needed to find the right person to run that operation. And so I did a nationwide search. And I met a man who had the superior credentials. He was the former head of Cyber Command for the United States of America. And so I said I would like to give you a promotion and be the head of Cyber Command in the state of Texas. Another thing that we did, laws that we passed, but also a ballot initiative that we need you to vote yes on, is securing the future of our state by ensuring that we're going to have the water that we need for future population growth, our business growth, for everything that we need. And I got to tell you, there's some misunderstanding about what this ballot proposition does. First, I will tell you this. What we authorized is $20 billion to provide funding to ensure a water supply for far more than the next 25 years. Does two things. One is provides half of that to repair leaking and broken pipes. So some of you here from Houston, and you'll know well what I'm about to tell you maybe, so laughter automatically. So the city of Houston has lost more than 32 billion gallons of water in just the last 2 years because of leaking and broken water pipes. Same challenges exist elsewhere. So we need this passed, and here's where the misunderstanding comes in. Some people say, well, we shouldn't be spending that much money, and we don't want to be taxed again. This does not involve a single penny more in taxpayer money. What it does what you do at home every day, what businesses have to do every day. It prioritizes the money that we have. We're saying that water may be more important than some other agenda item because we cannot live without that water. So we want to prioritize this funding, spend on water first before we address what our other needs are. So vote yes on Proposition 4 to make sure your kids, your grandkids, and the next generation will be able to tap in to the future that you were able to inherit in the great state of Texas. Another thing I did was I signed the strongest law in America protecting Texas land from being bought by foreign adversaries. You know, you see it especially true around this area. I was in El Paso yesterday near Fort Bliss. Here's the deal. They are trying to buy land along or near our military bases. We're not going to tolerate that. No more can they buy our Texas land. Also, thanks to the leadership of Candy Noble, who's not here today, but she was the leader on this. There you go. Candy Noble fans over there. Candy Noble led the effort to a law that I signed that prevents compounds like Epic City from being created in the state of Texas. We clarify that no neighborhood, no business in Texas is governed by Sharia law. Only Texas law and Texas courts govern our businesses and neighborhoods in the state of Texas, and we will not allow that to be changed. Now, there's another law that I signed that many of you all are familiar with, something I worked on very hard in the past session, that really is very transformative. I'll explain to you briefly what it does, but then expand upon what it truly achieves in our state. Y'all know that I was heavily involved in ensuring that we passed this session school choice. In typical Texas fashion, when we do something, we go big. And so after it passed, I signed the largest day one school choice program in the history of the United States of America. Now, obviously, this program is very important to parents because no one knows a child better and the needs of that child than the child's parents. The child's parents, they have the need to be able to choose the education pathway that's best for their child. Automatically providing the parent that authority is going to improve the education of that child because a child may be in a failing school right now. And a parent wants to get that child out of that failing school and provide that child with a better option. That's what this does. But it does so much more than that. And I want to elaborate on this. You know, if I got up here and did something that I've done here before, if I got up here and started listing all of the ways in which Texas ranks number one, it would be like a 30-minute speech just reading that list as though I was reading a menu. I'm going to spare you the time. I'm not going to do that. I will tell you this, though. As I've talked to families across Texas and explained school choice and what it does and what it means, I seized upon something that no governor in the history of Texas has ever seized upon, and that is I laid down a marker. We rank number one in literally hundreds of categories. The time has come for Texas to have a new number one ranking. Texas must seek to achieve to be ranked number one in the United States for educating our children. We know there are multiple elements to achieve that, one of which is school choice, but also we need to do a better job of empowering our local public schools, knowing that most of our kids are still going to get educated in our local public schools. And that's exactly why we passed the largest budget increase for local public schools, fully funding our public schools, and very importantly, we invested most in what matters most in a child's education, and that is teachers. We provided the largest teacher pay raise in the history of the state of Texas, more than $4 billion for teacher pay. And none of that matters unless we also did not go in and reform curriculum. Too many of us saw exactly what was going on during the time of COVID, watching our kids learn online and being disgusted with the woke ideology and some of the things our kids were being taught. We want to eliminate all that, which is what we did, and purge the woke agenda, but also double down on what matters the most. Reading and writing and math and science. We've got to master those skills for our kids if Texas is going to continue to lead the globe and lead the country economically. And in doing so, we are ending the indoctrination of our children in our schools. Along those lines, one of the laws that I signed this session was a law banning any aspect of DEI in public schools across the state of Texas. And that comes on the heels of the law that I signed before saying no boys and girls sports in our schools. If I could get just a tiny bit granular with you here for a second, I'll summarize just 4 of the ways in which we have additional curriculum reform. We championed parental rights, giving parents more power over their children's schools. We added new social studies, or history, I call it history, not social studies, new history topics covering communist regimes and how it contrasts with democracy. We have to do that because of all the people, even in Texas, who are running as socialists, being completely clueless about what's going on. And look at this crazy guy about to get elected to be mayor of New York. I call him Madame the Commie. He's going to get elected. There's a spread of this communistic ideology across the country. We want to educate our kids from the very beginning. Communism is wrong. Socialism is a failure. It's capitalism that's lifted more people out of poverty than any other economic system in the history of the entire world. And importantly, especially for TFRW, we strengthen civics education with instruction on state and local government and elections. And very importantly to everybody, something that should have been done a long time ago, we are requiring classes about personal financial literacy. We also passed legislation on something that truly is a life or death issue. We passed, and I signed laws on it, but also it's Proposition 3 on your constitutional amendment ballot. This involves the deadly results of leftist judges not enforcing bail laws. And we had to toughen the bail laws, and we had to do it in the Constitution because the Constitution dictates what bail laws are. But to give you just one example, there's a story about a man named Austin Collette in Harris County. Austin Collette murdered somebody and actually pled guilty to that murder charge and even contested. And after being a confessed killer, the trial court had only one thing to do, and that's to provide sentencing. Is it going to be life in prison? What's the sentence going to be? While awaiting sentencing for a confessed killer, that judge let the killer back out on the streets of Houston, and he murdered a 23-year-old girl who would be alive today but for the fact that that judge let that criminal out. We said, no more. We're putting our citizens above our murderers, and we're going to protect our communities by toughening the bail laws in the state of Texas. Before now, the Constitution provided only one crime for which bail could automatically be denied, and that's capital murder. Now we added every form of murder, every dangerous crime, including sexual assault, human trafficking, for which trial judges can deny bail. We're going to make sure that we keep the streets safer by keeping dangerous criminals off our streets. And while we were at it, we also prohibited parole for human traffickers who prey on children and people with disabilities, ensuring that the worst human traffickers will never walk the streets of Texas again. And something I know that's near and dear to everybody here, we took action on laws, and actually there's a constitutional amendment on making sure we have integrity in our election process, that we eliminate any possible way for cheating. For one, we've taken action to remove from our voter rolls anybody who is dead or ineligible. If you're, I know. I would not call that the Genius Act. No, here's the deal. That's common sense. If I could deviate here a second, I'm coming back to elections in a second. If I could deviate here just a second. Why did Trump win so prolifically this last election? Why did he win in all of these border counties that no Republican had won before? Why did he win in all of these, toss-up crossover states? The reason is because he focused on very simple, common sense concepts, such as no boys and girls sports, such as safe communities, such as securing our borders as opposed to having open border policies. This is common sense. The other thing that's common sense is something that we passed, but you need to confirm in the constitutional amendment, and that is only U.S. citizens of the United States, only citizens of the United States are eligible to vote in our elections. when I was in El Paso yesterday, I was asked by the media, so why is that needed? And y'all may be aware, that reporter was not, there are states across the country that are allowing illegal immigrants to be able to vote. This is a dangerous trend that we are making dead as a doornail right here in the state of Texas by you voting in favor of that constitutional amendment. But listen, here's the reality. There's a long list of things we could talk about that we've done. But one thing we gather around today is the fact that a whole lot more needs to be done. The reality is, if we're going to continue to win elections, we must remain vigilant. There's something that seeps into every human being, every organization, every team that is as true as nature itself. And that is, when you win, you take it for granted. You're going to continue to win. You get complacent. And you think, well, I'll let Zena take care of it. Well, I don't have to worry about that. They're going to go vote. You know as well as anybody, that is not how it works. Our ongoing vigilance is necessary to push back against this expanding leftist ideology, not just expanding in the United States, but expanding in the state of Texas. We must not tolerate it. Look at the visible assault on ICE that you see on TV every day. This is law enforcement. These are federal employees. They're just simply trying to enforce the federal law passed by the United States Congress. And yet they're literally being shot at, even in Dallas, Texas, even in Navasota, Texas. And we must not tolerate that. And look at what happened in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk. Look at what happened to Charlie Kirk, an assassination. And then people celebrating that assassination, people posing other dangers because of what happened. We as a group, we as a society must insist on law and order in the state of Texas. We must make it so that no illegal immigrant will ever be able to take a job, a housing, education, or health care that rightfully belongs to our fellow Texans. And we must tie the hands of these local tax collectors who try to jack up your property taxes and root out every last trace of DEI from our public schools, from government and our universities, and secure our elections, secure our borders, defend our liberties, and protect our children from the insanity of gender ideology. Central to our mission, central to achieving our goal of making sure that not only do we win, but in the process, in winning, defeat the leftists. There's only one thing that's of primary central importance. Very simply, voter turnout. We can talk all we want, we can raise money, we can do all these other things that are intended to achieve that goal, but the thing that matters the most is voter turnout. No one has mastered that skill set better than TFRW. We just need you to continue your efforts and double down on that effort. But I want to let you know today about a new tool that we're providing to you to make you even more impactful in your voter turnout operation. And we are providing an app for you that you can download, iPhone or Android, doesn't matter. And before I even get finished talking about it, if you go to your app store right now, you'll have it downloaded before I finish talking about it. It's very easy. So the name of the tool is called Abbott Impact. If you go to your app store, someone's doing it right in front of me right now, and just plug in Abbott Impact, it'll pop up right there, and you can register. Let me tell you what it does. First, the context. I know y'all make a lot of phone calls, you knock on a lot of doors, you send a lot of texts, you send emails. You're heavily engaged in voter contact. But I also know, if you're like most everybody else, you don't know which of the people you've contacted have actually voted. Now, you know who may tell you they voted, but you don't know if they actually have or not. What this app does, it immediately connects your contacts in your phone with the Texas voter file. And so what you will be able to do, just by your contacts, you will be able to know whether or not your friends actually have or have not voted. So what that will enable you to do is you will be able to know who you need to continue to call, who you need to continue to text. Your friends saying, listen, Jane, listen, the election, early voting is still going on. I really need you to go vote. You'll be able to see on a day-to-day basis whether or not your friends had voted early. And that way you can know who to focus on and who continue to push to make sure we get this across the finish line. We want you to be even more successful than you've ever been. So go to Abbott Impact on your phone, download that app. It also helps you share social media things like that. Bottom line is this. We're here today with Republican leadership in the state of Texas that makes our state politically look as red as the attire that you're wearing right now. 70 years ago, it was the exact opposite. Only because you decided to get engaged, involved, and make a difference. I'm not saying you literally, because I know none of you remember 70 years ago, but because TFRW members got engaged and involved, that's what changed the process. As we gather today, there are Democrats talking about the strategies they will be using to, and I'm going to quote from them, to permanently flip Texas to be blue. We have a hard game on our hands in a midterm election in which we know in these midterm elections is more difficult for the party in power. The last time in a midterm election for Donald Trump is when Ted Cruz eked out a victory over Beto O'Rourke by just over 2 percentage points. This is what we call an away game with a hostile crowd. And the way that we win games is when we have massive organizations like TFRW come together and focus on that one thing, and that is voter turnout. When you achieve that goal, once again, this election, I can assure you, you and for your kids and grandkids, we're going to keep Texas red, keep Texas the leading Republican state in the history of the United States of America. Thank you all. God bless you all, and God bless the great state of Texas. Thank you.
You have to wait.
Okay. Wait right here?
Yes.
Thank you.
Governor, on behalf of TFRW, because I know they want to hurry up and get their pictures taken, okay, we produced a wonderful book this year commemorating our 70 years. You are part of that 70 years. I want to say thank you for all you do.
Sure. Come over here.
Also, we have our anniversary scarf
Oh, yeah.
for Cecilia. And she is our First Lady. We love our First Lady. I know that you'll make sure she gets this.
100%.
Thank you.
I'm in trouble if I don't.
Well,
Thank you all.
All right, ladies, thank you so much to Governor Abbott. Volunteers, if you would kindly take your positions.